This is my WWE Over the Limit 2010 pay-per-view predictions. After getting my predictions, I'm going to give my thoughts real quickly on the Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan, promo that happened on NXT earlier this week. Now let me get on to my Over the Limit 2010 pay-per-view predictions. First, the pay-per-view is live tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. Now, just to inform you and tell all you that are viewing this, now my review for the pay-per-view probably won't come until probably either sometime, in the morning of Monday or sometime in the afternoon at the latest Monday, due to the fact that the season finale or the series finale of Lost is coming on tomorrow, and I'm actually going to be watching that over the Limit pay-per-view. But the pay-per-view is looking good. And I'm not, saying that the pay-per-view doesn't look good because I'm watching that. It's just one of those things that with the series finale of Lost, I'm looking forward to that more than the Over the Limit pay-per-view, and just want to see that actually when it's taking place, and then I'll just, catch the pay-per-view later on. So just to inform everyone, I'll probably give my review for the Over the Limit pay-per-view either sometime early Monday or at the latest sometime in the afternoon. You'll see it around that time. Now let me get on to my predictions. Firstly, it's going to be Ted DiBiase versus R-Truth. Now, I like both of these performers, but this is a match that I probably could do without being on the pay-per-view. The storyline behind this is obviously Ted DiBiase, trying to get R-Truth to be his Virgil of, this generation, with him and him pretty much being like his father, and Virgil's in his corner, which, kind of interesting to see Virgil out there, because I think it's probably the first time since WCW closed that you've seen Virgil on television doing anything as far as anything mainstream wrestling wise. So that's a little interesting to see that. But the whole feud with them too, I mean, it's just a complete rehash of that of the $1 Million Man versus Virgil, and they could do something better both with R-Truth and with Ted DiBiase, especially Ted DiBiase. They don't need to be doing the storyline of him trying to kind of, live off his father's legacy, but I have a feeling they're kind of doing this on purpose. They're doing it in a way where they're booking in a way that he's, now, on his singles run, and now he's trying to kind of be like his father in some ways, that he's going to grow frustrated with that, and people comparing him with his dad, then he'll, turn to, being by himself, trying to be the first, well, his name's Ted DiBiase, but, not to be like his father and just be something different than his father. I think that's probably what the route they'll probably go with it at some point. So it might have some purpose to it. But at this point, I mean, it's kind of like something that should be settled on Raw instead of a pay-per-view. Even though I like both the competitors, Ted DiBiase is obviously going to pick up the victory. And R-Truth is one of those guys that is going to be completely lost in the shuffle due to with the draft recently happening and him getting switched to Monday Night Raw. And they should have kept him on SmackDown, because him on Raw, he's either going to be a complete jobber or he's going to be completely lost in the shuffle, and WWE is not going to do anything with him. Unfortunately, I almost see the same thing happening to John Morrison as well on Monday nights. Possibly with John Morrison, he might be able to break the glass ceiling, unlike R-Truth. I think R-Truth is not going to be able to do that, even though he's very over with the crowd. I think R-Truth is probably going to go the route of Crime Time, being that competitor that WWE just for some reason doesn't want to push, but the crowd is always behind. Kind of like a Matt Hardy as well. Like I said, Ted DiBiase pick up the victory there. Then the next matchup will be Eve Torres versus Maryse for the Divas Championship. This match is going to be probably very, very botchy. Neither one of these are, I wouldn't say neither one is like one of the worst female competitors, but it's just, the typical WWE divas nowadays, and for pretty much a long time anyway, that WWE obviously just wants to base them on their looks and really could care less about their wrestling quality. Unfortunately, TNA is starting to do the same types of things in their organization as well for the women's division as well. And this match, since Eve Torres just recently won the title, I don't see Maryse getting the title, even though, the Divas title and pretty much any title that's in WWE other than maybe the main titles are pretty much used nothing more than props. So they wouldn't care if they, would switch it back and forth this quick. But I see them keeping it on Eve. I think they're going to try to do something with Eve. I feel what they're trying with Eve, they're thinking that maybe that, she's not that good of a worker right now, but maybe if, have the title on her and maybe try to do a little more stuff with her in the ring, maybe have someone train her backstage, kind of have her be like the Trish Stratus of the women's division be pretty much someone that was there just for looks, then actually tries to, improve her wrestling skills and actually becomes a good women's wrestler. I think that's what they're probably trying with Eve. Like I said, Eve will retain the Divas Championship. Then the next matchup will be Drew McIntyre versus Kofi Kingston for the Intercontinental Championship. This match actually probably will be pretty good between these two. I think this match will actually be a pretty good Intercontinental Championship match between these two, and Drew McIntyre will retain the Intercontinental Championship. I don't see them giving it to Kofi Kingston, unfortunately, even though I would prefer them to go the route of having Kofi Kingston as Intercontinental Champion. I see them having Drew McIntyre retain the Intercontinental Championship. But then the next matchup will be probably one of the first times in a long time that, yes, actually a WWE pay-per-view actually has a tag team match that I'm actually looking forward to, which is the first time in a long time, and I can't even remember the last time there was a tag team title match on a WWE pay-per-view that I was actually looking forward to, and I was actually thinking that possibly could be a great tag match. And this is the Hart Dynasty versus Chris Jericho and The Miz for the Unified Tag Team Championships. This should be a very good to great match. This should be maybe some type of feud with the Hart Dynasty versus Jericho and Miz. Maybe if they continue this, and even though I would prefer, the Miz and Jericho to be singles competitors instead of being, a thrown together tag team at this point, possibly with them two teaming up and having this feud with the Hart Dynasty for the Unified Tag Team Championships, maybe they could extend it, have a feud, for 3-4 months, and with that feud right there, not only will you help establish the Hart Dynasty as a very good tag team, but at the same time, you would maybe finally get a little prestige back into the tag team titles, which is something you desperately need in mainstream wrestling, especially WWE, because the tag team titles haven't meant anything in a long, long time. So maybe with the Hart Dynasty, maybe with a feud like this, maybe they could do that and turn something around right there. The Hart Dynasty will retain the Unified Tag Team Championships and should be a very good to great tag team match, which is something that you don't see that often in WWE, so hopefully it does deliver. Then the next matchup will be CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio. This is the Straight Edge Society Pledge versus Hair match. And I do see WWE unfortunately going the route at some point down the line of CM Punk having to shave his hair and go completely bald, but I don't think that's going to happen at this pay-per-view, because I think they might try to have this feud last a little longer, maybe stretch it out all the way to SummerSlam or right before SummerSlam between these two, and then CM Punk loses his hair at that point. Unfortunately, they're doing the whole hair stuff with him so much that they're going to go the route of that, and if it's a choice between hair versus mask, I think we all know that WWE is not going to have Rey Mysterio lose the mask, and CM Punk will be the one going bald, and he'll be losing his hair in that match. But this match, I think Rey Mysterio will lose. CM Punk will win this match. Should be a very good match. Now, Rey Mysterio and CM Punk's had good matches so far in their feud between each other, but it's been kind of a little disappointing, meaning in the nature that I think most people were expecting probably better matches between those two. You had good matches between them, but it hasn't been the quality like Match of the Year or, Match of the Year candidates or classic matches so far. It's just been good matches, which isn't bad, but hopefully this match is, something like we would expect between Rey Mysterio and CM Punk, a great wrestling match. But nonetheless, even if it doesn't deliver to that level of, past probably a little too much high expectations for it, it's going to still be a good match between these two. And you'll probably see, the Masked Man the Hooded Man play a role in this match, which is obviously Joey Matthews, or at least is rumored to be Joey Matthews under the hood. Then the next matchup will be Randy Orton versus Edge, which, if it wasn't for the main event, I would probably say this match could possibly be the show stealer, which it still could be the show stealer. Should be a great match between these two with Randy Orton and Edge. Now, I can see this match going either way. I can see Edge picking the victory up. I can see Orton picking the victory up. But I'm going to go with Randy Orton winning this match just because I feel after Randy Orton's loss with Jack Swagger last month at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, I have a feeling at this pay-per-view they're going to want Randy Orton, since, with this face turn, he's going to need the victory. And it's okay for the heel to, lose, because that's pretty much what the heel's job is, to lose, is to pretty much lose almost all the time for the most part. And it won't hurt Edge if he loses here. But if it does go the route of Edge winning, Edge will win in some shady manner. But I see Orton picking the victory up. Should be a great match between these two. Then the next matchup will be Jack Swagger versus Big Show for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, everyone probably already knows, I've said it so many times. I think most people just think I'm a complete Big Show hater and just despise Big Show, which I'm not a huge fan of Big Show. And, Big Show is one of those guys I would say at this point in his career shouldn't be in the world title picture, and I don't think he should be in the world title picture. But I think what they're trying to go with this Jack Swagger versus Big Show route is what they're trying to do with this match, because obviously with Jack Swagger, you see a little resemblance to Lesnar and a little mix of Kurt Angle as well. And I'm thinking, since WWE's feeling that Jack Swagger's could be possibly their type of, the next person like a Lesnar or an Angle of that type of wrestling quality, that they thought, hey, Lesnar and Angle work good with Big Show, possibly, since we feel this guy's almost like them in some ways, or at least a little mix of both of them, maybe he could work good with Big Show. I think that's what they're trying to do here, which it could possibly be better than what I'm expecting, but for some reason I'm not expecting much with this Jack Swagger versus Big Show match. But who knows? It could surprise me. Could be better, and could actually be a good World Heavyweight title match. But after the first 3 matches, the 5 other matches on this pay-per-view, this is the only one that's probably not going to be something very good to great, or possibly be that category, maybe surprise me. But Jack Swagger, I feel, is going to retain the title. I don't think they'll give the title to Big Show. Then the main event is the I Quit match for the WWE Championship with John Cena versus Batista. Obviously, it's not even rumors anymore. It's pretty much almost completely confirmed that this is going to be the last match, or at least at this point, with Batista's run in WWE. So with that, obviously, Batista's going to lose this match. And even if that wasn't the case, even if it wasn't rumored that Batista was leaving WWE after this match, he would still lose this match, because what they do with John Cena's character is, he has this, he never gives up, never backs down, never's going to quit attitude, and that type of character, that if he would say I quit and in a match and saying I quit, then it would just pretty much hurt his character and his credibility, and obviously they would not do that and not have John Cena say I quit. So just with that, even if it wasn't the rumor of Batista leaving, either way, Batista would lose the match. So Cena is going to retain the WWE Championship. Should be a very good match, and with Batista and John Cena, they had good matches in the past, and so far I have enjoyed all their matches they've had this year so far. This should be a great match with the I Quit stipulation to it. Could be another very good to great match with these two at this pay-per-view. So overall, this pay-per-view, Over the Limit, does look like it possibly could be a very good pay-per-view, because you got the John Cena and Batista match, which should be a great match. You got Orton and Edge, which should be a very good match as well. Then you got the CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio match. And for a change, you actually got a tag team title match on a pay-per-view for WWE in a long time. That actually looks like it should be very good to great. In the undercard, I think, the undercard, with the other matches on here, are going to be something, at least watchable. I don't think anything's going to really be that bad on this pay-per-view, other than maybe the Divas match. That's possibly the only thing on here that I possibly would put in the category of possibly in the category of terrible, because I have a feeling if they don't make it very short and sweet, it's going to be a very botchy women's match on this pay-per-view. But should be a very good pay-per-view outing from WWE. Now let me get my quick thoughts on the NXT promo from Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson, on NXT earlier this week. And just like pretty much everyone has said so far, this was just a great shoot promo from WWE. And that's actually the one thing I got to give WWE a lot of credit with. They do know how to have these shoot promos and these shoot angles work out very good. I mean, they've done it very good in the past. With probably the most memorable one out of the last several years is probably the Edge and Matt Hardy feud, with Matt Hardy doing a shoot promo on WWE, the Joey Styles one that they did when ECW was getting resurrected and becoming a brand. That was a pretty good one as well. And probably some of the most memorable ones during the Attitude Era were probably Jim Cornette's shoot promos on the competition at the time, which was WCW. So WWE knows how to do these shoot promos, these shoot angles pretty good, which is kind of a shame, because sometimes, they do so good with this, then other times you're like, it seems like they are completely incapable of booking any good angles, but they know how to do these shoot angles very good, and they did it great with Daniel Bryan, and I think everything Bryan Danielson said in that promo was just something that I think all of us wrestling fans, especially everyone in the internet wrestling community, the YouTube wrestling community, just feel about WWE is, Vince McMahon always just wants to push these muscle-bound guys, these guys that, just are the big old muscle steroid users, instead of, guys that actually can work, like a, Bryan Danielson, that type of, wrestler of that size, instead of the muscle-bound guys, and just every other thing. And I think even the other thing that made it even better was, obviously, I think all of us just despise Michael Cole, and just adding that, into the angle as well of him attacking Michael Cole. And actually, this whole angle right here, before this, I didn't watch NXT Tuesday. I just saw it later on that night on YouTube, and just, thought the angle was great after I saw it. And I haven't watched an episode of NXT since probably the second episode, but this type of angle right here, especially with, now, since before, the reason why I wasn't watching NXT, which wasn't really looking forward to it, and thought, after the first episode or two, kind of, went down a little pace of what it possibly could have become. And at the same time, I was watching the new season of B on ABC, which I was choosing to watch that over NXT. But now, since that's over, possibly we'll watch NXT this Tuesday just to see where this angle proceeds, where it goes next, which could possibly be something very good to great. And they're doing a great job with Bryan Danielson. And don't know if this was their original plan. I don't know if WWE was smart enough to say, hey, we're going to have this guy come in that was originally Bryan Danielson on the indie circuit in the Ring of Honor, and have him, go under this terrible name of Daniel Bryan, and just have him go on this losing streak, and then have him eliminated, then at the same time have him, turn back into being Bryan Danielson. I don't know if that was their original plan, or that was just them throwing, something out there, and it just somehow happened to work. I don't know. That would be one thing we'll never know about this whole entire angle. Was this something they completely planned like this to the beginning, or was this something after the losing streak that they just went this route and said, hey, let's try this, see how this works, and it's so far working very good. So just want to come on here and give my predictions for the Over the Limit pay-per-view and my thoughts on Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, on NXT this past Tuesday, his promo he did there. And if you're one of the very few people that haven't seen that promo yet, for some reason or not, I'll put the link of that in the description just in case you haven't seen it. And yeah, that's it for this video. Peace. DiBiase, trying to get R-Truth to be his Virgil of, this generation, with him and him pretty much being like his father, and Virgil's in his corner, which, kind of interesting to see Virgil out there, because I think it's probably the first time since WCW closed that you've seen Virgil on television doing anything as far as anything mainstream wrestling wise. So that's a little interesting. My WWE Over the Limit 2010 pay-per-view predictions. After getting my predictions, I'm giving my thoughts real quickly on the Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan, promo that happened on NXT earlier this week. Now let me get on to my Over the Limit 2010 pay-per-view predictions. First, the pay-per-view is live tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. Now, just to inform, pay-per-view either sometime early Monday or at the latest sometime in the afternoon. You'll see it around that time. Now let me get on to my predictions. Firstly, it's going to be Ted DiBiase versus R-Truth. Now, I like both of these performers, but this is a match that I probably could do without being on the pay-per-view. The storyline behind this is obviously Ted DiBiase, and to all of you that are viewing this. Now, my review for the pay-per-view probably won't come until probably either sometime, in the morning of Monday or sometime in the afternoon at the latest Monday, due to the fact that the season finale or the series finale of Lost is coming on tomorrow, and I'm actually going to be watching that over the Over the Limit pay-per-view. But the pay-per-view is looking good, and I'm not, saying that the pay-per-view doesn't look good because I'm watching that. It's just one of those things that with the series finale of Lost, I'm looking forward to that more than the Over the Limit pay-per-view, and just want to see that actually when it's taking place, and then I'll just, catch the pay-per-view later on. So just to inform everyone, I'll probably give my review for the Over the Limit pay-per-view